The big scandal is back to rock the K-pop world. Jungkook is accused of betraying Taehyung just before his departure for the United States. But the most disturbing, Taehyung knows everything and chose silence.
Why?
What's going on behind the scenes at BTS? Why is HYB silent when the tension is mounting? Is this the beginning of the crack in the foundations of the friendship that they have maintained so far in front of the cameras? What did Taehyung see before everything exploded? This question brought armies around the world to tears and bewilderment. Was Jungkook really guilty, or just a victim of a bigger game? Scandal exploded. Jungkook accused of betraying Taehyung. What exactly happened? Everyone gasped. No one expected it. No one was ready. But that night, when the cameras were no longer on, and the atmosphere at the airport looked so tense, something changed. Jungkook, who usually waves a handful of smiles to his fans, that night just looked down. His pace was quick, his body stiffened, and the only one who didn't take his eyes off him was Taehyung, and oh words.
No greeting.
No interaction. And that's the beginning of it all. A rumor that initially circulated in fan whispers turned into a storm of suspicion when an unnamed staffer leaked one piece of information. There's a real tension between Jungkook and Taehyung. And Taehyung knows what's going on. But what made it all the more astonishing was not just their silence. It was HYB's blindfolded attitude, despite increasing public pressure. The question is simple but heartbreaking. What is Jungkook really doing? And why did Taehyung choose silence when the whole world questioned the trust between them? The chronology begins a few weeks before Jungkook's departure for the United States. In some live broadcasts, Jungkook looks uncharacteristic. His gaze is often blank, his lips tremble at the mention of someone who is in a difficult position, and in one session, he even covers his face saying, "I can't talk about this right now." But not a few believe that he means Taehyung. Then came the day that the horrendous file appeared. Photos, text messages allegedly leaked from a private communication app between Jungkook and someone who isn't HYB's staff, isn't a BTS member, and isn't Taehyung. A conversation that shows that Jungkook is keeping a big secret. Something that even Taehyung himself was warned about, but he chose to let things go. Or rather, he is watching everything. Why did Taehyung just shut up when the truth began to be sniffed? Is this his deepest disappointment? Or is he just waiting for the right time to reveal everything? Question after question hung, and Taehyung's every move seemed to be a gesture monitored by millions of eyes. In one photo shoot with a well-known brand, Taehyung looked uninterested. He even sat far away from Jungkook, and when someone mentioned the name of the magne, his smile faded. Is it just a coincidence? Or is it the first sign of a broken heart? Then came an old video from their practice. In the video, a man's voice is heard saying, "If you do that, you will regret it." I know Taehyung won't stay silent. It is not yet certain who owns the sound, but speculation is growing that it was part of a warning before it went off. And now we're back to the biggest question. What did Jungkook betray? What did he hide from Taehyung to create an invisible chasm between them? Some of the army tried to find answers through small interactions, the way Taehyung didn't turn his head when called by Jungkook, the moment Jungkook tried to grab Taehyung's hand, which was only answered with a stiff gesture, or the fact that the two of them hadn't been on a live broadcast since last month. One source said. Taehyung was too angry to talk, but too hurt to leave. Jungkook knows that. That sentence made the world silent, and Hype's silence was actually the most painful highlight. How could an agency that has been guarding BTS's image with such rigor allow a rumor of this magnitude to develop without a single clarification? Do they know more than they show? Are they protecting someone? Or is it just preparing another narrative so that everything looks ordinary? And here is the most stifling. The army began to split. Some believe Jungkook is guilty. Some believe he was sacrificed. And there are also those who feel this is not about who is right or wrong, but about a wound that is too deep to be healed with just the word sorry. If it's true that Jungkook betrayed Taehyung's trust, in what form? Was it a secret agreement? A cover-up collaboration? Hidden personal relationships? Or did he convey something to the public that should be BTS's internal secret? Another question arises. Why did all this happen precisely on the eve of an important departure to the United States? Is this part of the global pressure that Jungkook is experiencing as an individual who now often performs solo? Or is there something deeper, more personal, between him and Taehyung that has never been made public? One of the suddenly viral clips shows Taehyung sitting alone in a waiting room, holding his phone and staring at the screen for several minutes. A few seconds after that, Jungkook entered the room, and the atmosphere immediately turned cold. No words,
No gas.
no smiles. Many netizens called it the coldest silence in BTS history. What was the message on Taehyung's phone before Jungkook entered the room?
Who sent it?
And is that the reason Taehyung started moving away? Some say that the content of the message is evidence, something that ends up turning belief into suspicion. Some say that Taehyung deliberately waited for Jungkook to come to his senses. But time went on, and the wound didn't heal. Now, the only question that doesn't have an answer: will their relationship ever get back to normal? Or is this the beginning of the end of what they've been doing? HYB hasn't spoken yet. Jungkook hasn't explained. Taehyung was silent, and the army. They waited, in a hope that grew more vague and a fear that grew more real. He swore on stage. Not with words spoken in an official ceremony, but through looks, hugs, and promises that only those who witnessed and loved them understood from the beginning. But now it all feels so far away. Like the ruins of a magnificent building that once stood firmly in the middle of love, now leaving only dust and Tanya. Paparazzi cameras caught something suspicious a few days before Jungkook's departure. He appears to be talking seriously to someone who is not from BTS's official staff. The mysterious figure was wearing a gray hoodie and a black mask, looking like he was trying to hide his identity. But from Jungkook's lips and body language, which at the time seemed uneasy, fans began to connect the meeting with the beginning of the collapse of the relationship between him and Taehyung. What did Jungkook talk about in that mysterious meeting? Is he trying to hide something? Or are you just looking for a way out of the pressure that is already too heavy? On the other hand, Taehyung, who is known to be the most expressive and full of emotion, has shown a flat face in all of his public activities in recent days. In one of the shooting videos, when asked about his relationship with BTS members, he flatly replied, "We're all busy with each other's business right now." There is no smile. No names are called. There is not a single sign that he still wants to talk about someone, but in a world as tightly connected as BTS's fandom, silence doesn't mean inaudible. Quite the opposite, Taehyung's silence became the loudest voice echoing to the whole world. Meanwhile, rumors began to circulate that before leaving for America, Jungkook had repeatedly tried to contact Taehyung. Some say he sent a voice note. Some say he sent a personal letter, but none were returned. Even when they were in the same training room, Taehyung chose to go home early. And what is even more painful, he passed Jungkook just like that, without turning his head in the slightest. Did I S it the deepest form of injury? Or is it a form of punishment without sound? HYB, as BTS's mansion, remained silent. But behind their silence, one shocking act emerged. All live broadcast schedules involving the two were postponed without any official explanation. In a letter to the media, they only mentioned changes in the schedule for internal reasons. But the army knows this is not just a schedule change. This is a protective measure. But for whom? One staffer from a competing agency said in an anonymous forum, "Everyone in the industry knew something was going on. And it's no small thing. HYB is busy building a narrative that can save the image of everything before the media scrambles the truth further." The sentence spread quickly and ignited a new fire of suspicion. Is it true that Jungkook did something so big that it had to be hidden? Or on the contrary, is he being the scapegoat for internal decisions that he cannot even control? Then came a snippet from their old variety show. In the episode, Taehyung joked, "If Jungkook keeps something from me, I can tell by the look in his eyes." Everyone laughed at the time. But now, that sentence feels like a bitter prophecy. Jungkook's eyes. It was the one that was most often highlighted in his last few appearances. He seems to keep falling. Even in one solo performance before departure, he could not finish one song well. His voice broke. His eyes were glazed. And after the song was over, he just said softly, "I'm sorry that today I can't be fully present. I just thinking about someone." The army knows who he's talking about, but why does all this feel like an incomplete puzzle piece? Because there is one part missing. One key is still hidden. And strangely, everyone felt that the key was in Taehyung's hands. But why isn't Taehyung talking? What makes him silent in the M? Not because the concert will continue without the full members, but because of the togetherness that they have always adored. Now cracked and probably will not return, Seoul's skies looked ordinary that day, but in the army's eyes, the sky was no longer the same since Jungkook's departure to the United States. He left in silence, without a warm hug from Taehyung, without a parting look from the friend he once called home. All that was seen was a body walking away and a heart left behind, full of unspoken wounds. And just when everyone thought the story was about to fade, one thing changed everything. A snippet of a message allegedly from Taehyung's phone was leaked to the public, not a fan site, not gossip from anonymous accounts. But a familiar source close to one of BTS's former project visual editors is no longer under contract with HYB. In his confession, he said, "There's a message Taehyung wrote on his cell phone. Not for the public, but for himself." I saw that sentence because it was used in dummy templates during the behind-the-scenes content design process. I regret reading it, but I know the world should know. And this is the content of the leaked message. "I saw everything. But I let it go because I wanted to trust you. But when you choose to hide it not just from me, but from those who have always believed in you, then I know it's not about us anymore. It's about who you are when there are no cameras." The world fell silent. Army hysterical. Is this proof that Jungkook did do something hurtful? Or is this just a form of Taehyung's personal emotions that haven't been processed yet? But one thing is certain. The message was not intended for the public, and the fact that Taehyung kept it became proof that the pain was real. One former BTS manager who did not want to be identified said in an exclusive interview with Korean investigative journalists, "Taehyung is not the kind of person who holds grudges. But he's also not someone who will just forget something. If he is silent, it is not because he is weak, but because he is deciding whether a person is still worthy of forgiveness or not." And this is what makes everything even more complicated. The source also mentioned that the scandal involving Jungkook had actually been known to HYB's internal party since a few weeks ago. But because it is considered to damage the image of individuals and groups, they choose to silence and close it tightly. It was even rumored that HYB had considered distracting the public with the announcement of a large collaboration project, but the plan fell through when Taehyung refused to appear in the project. HYB jitter. And the army began to question, did HYB cover up mistakes for the sake of preserving their assets? Would such a large agency still be trustworthy if they cared more about image than truth? In the online discussion of the army community, a compilation of videos appeared that gave goosebumps. The video shows Taehyung and Jungkook's every interaction over the past 2 months, with slow motion and heartbreaking narration, accompanied by sad music. Blank stares, distant shoulders, forced smiles, and especially when Jungkook stared at Taehyung for a full 4 seconds in one interview, but Taehyung didn't look back once. The most liked comment on the video reads, "Sometimes a person's silence is louder than a scream." And Taehyung, he was screaming in the quietest way he could. Some media psychologists were even asked to analyze the body language of the two in the clip. The results were surprising to Dr. Han Min-suk, a body language expert from the University of South Korea, said, "Taehyung is in a defensive emotional state. He kept his distance not out of hatred, but out of deep disappointment. Jungkook, on the other hand, appears to be in high emotional distress, like someone who regrets something but doesn't know how to fix it." Then came further speculation. Was there a third person, not in a romantic context, but in an industrial structure? A behind-the-scenes figure who may have influenced Jungkook's decision to do something Taehyung considers treason. Either a hidden contract, a secret project, or information that was disseminated outside without the consent of the group. HYB, to date, has not provided any confirmation. Even when journalists demand transparency, they only issue generic statements. "We will not comment on issues related to the personal life of our artists." A corny phrase that only adds to the hurt and anger. What exactly is HYB hiding? This question is now at the center of every discussion. And more people believe that it's not just about two people being disappointed in each other. It's a great portrait of how an industry sets up narratives, even when one's heart is being broken behind the scenes. That night, the sky was not only dark over Seoul. In the hearts of millions of ARMY, everything felt increasingly bleak. Not only because of the rumors that keep growing, but because one figure who has been considered as a counterweight between Jungkook and Taehyung finally spoke. And he did not speak in an official interview, not in a promotional broadcast, not in a press release from HYB, but in a short live broadcast that should not have been recorded. Jimin, the mediator, a figure who always seems gentle, full of empathy, and rarely shows his sharp side. But that night, in the middle of a short live that was originally just to greet fans before bed,